Hey everybody, welcome to Dr. B Q&A. This is Negative Thinking Part 2. We're going to talk a little bit about turning those thoughts around, so stay tuned. So in Part 1, I talked a little bit about the different styles of negative thinking, or ways that we can get ourselves stuck in that negative circle, negative triad, and distorted ways of processing information. And if you're interested in that, go back to my first video, Negative Thinking Part 1, and that'll kind of lay all that out for you. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about how we begin to turn those kinds of things around. And there's a wonderful form of therapy called DBT, Dialectical Behavioral Therapy, that focuses on mindfulness. And it's one of my favorite forms of thinking, or favorite forms of therapy, sorry. And it's wonderful in being mindful about what we're thinking to ourselves and how to turn those thoughts around and how to support ourselves. There's also another form of therapy called inner child work. And I feel like negative thinking, it begins when we're very young. We kind of tend to make up these conclusions and ideas about ourselves when we're very small, before we have the frontal lobe capacity and the right brain power and logic thinking available to us. When we're very young, we make these thoughts up and we can't really combat them appropriately because our frontal lobe is not fully developed. So we hang on to these thoughts about ourselves and they follow us throughout our life. And in fact, we underline them with our negative thinking then. Anyway, that's a whole nother video and I can get into that a little bit later. So today we're going to focus just strictly on turning those negative thoughts around. So number one is observation. And I did a little 2-minute quick tip a little while back about observing your thoughts, thinking about throughout the day, here and there, pausing and really focusing on what you are saying to yourself. What's that inner monologue like? What is happening inside your mind? What are you saying to yourself? Is it positive? Is it negative? I don't want you to jump at it, turn it around, immediately follow it with a positive. I just want you to observe. Just notice, just be aware. This step is all about focusing and reminding yourself to focus on your thoughts and being aware of your thoughts. Once you've got that down and you feel like that's starting to come a little more easily to you, you're aware of what you're thinking throughout the day and at different times of day, and when you're talking to certain people, or once you've had an encounter with somebody, you come away going, oh, what was I saying to myself? How do I feel about that? And once you notice that and you feel like you've got that down pretty well, you can move on to the next step, which is describing. And that's a little more difficult, interestingly enough. You can observe what you're thinking to yourself, but being able to describe that, either by writing it down, journaling is a really good tip, a really good way to be able to describe those feelings and to describe those emotions and thoughts that you're having. You can journal, you can talk, you can do a vlog like this. This is very helpful. Once you're able to describe, you can participate with those emotions. Once you know that what you're feeling is real, and once you're able to describe what you're feeling, then you can really participate with it. And what I mean by that is experience it. If you're feeling sad, don't push it down. Don't push it away. Feel sad. That's okay. Let that emotion run its course. It's not going to stick around forever. Though sometimes when we're feeling upset or we're feeling sad, we feel like it's always going to be there. If we allow it to become present, it will never go away. And that can be a fear of feeling and participating with one's emotions. However, I'm here to tell you it's like a wave. Every single emotion that you feel, it'll come and it'll subside. It'll come and it'll subside. You'll feel a new emotion, it'll subside. So if you can process through, allow yourself to feel sad, allow it to come and feel it, participate with it, and allow it to move through and go away. If you allow yourself to feel these feelings and participate with these emotions and these thoughts that you're having, then your brain will be able to continue the pathway and close the circuit. You have to allow that electrical current to process all the way through. When we push emotions down, we're stopping that current in our brain. We're stopping those neural pathways from continuing on and finishing the course into a healthy set. So we want to allow ourselves to participate. We want to allow it to continue. So we feel whatever it is, truly feel it, participate with it. Don't judge it. Step number 4 is don't judge. So we've got observe, we've got describe, we've got participate, and now I'm going to throw in non-judgmental status, okay? Don't judge your thoughts or your feelings. Feelings just are. So try not to be judgmental with those thoughts. Allow them to come, allow them to be, participate with them. Don't judge them. There's no right, there's no wrong, just is, and that's okay. You have this thought, you're allowed to have that thought, you're allowed to have that feeling. Let it be. Sit with it. Sitting with one's emotion and one's thoughts can prove to be one of the most difficult parts of therapy. If you are undergoing any kind of emotional transformation or psychological transformation, or you're seeing a therapist, sitting with your emotions is one of the most uncomfortable things you can do. But once you become used to it and realize that they'll come and they'll fade, it becomes much easier. All of these steps take practice. Okay, and step number 5 is being mindful of these thoughts. And I know I talked about that a little bit earlier, being mindful and aware, but being mindful in what you're doing. Do one thing at a time as you're going through these emotions and as you're noticing what you're feeling. Try to stay present. And I think I've talked about that too in some of my 2-minute quick tips. That can be one of the most helpful tools in coping with stress and depression and all kinds of emotional trauma and grief. Trying to stay present and allow yourself to feel is one of the most important things you can do. And the last step in this process is going to be self-support, your self-care. As you're going through this process of changing this way of thinking, it's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of practice and energy, and it's going to be different. It's going to feel uncomfortable at first, and you're going to need to support yourself through that change. When things are uncomfortable, it's up to us to care for ourselves, get enough sleep, get enough exercise, eat appropriately, and do the things that make you feel good and make you feel energized. And self-care, even with simple things. If you need to lie down and take an extra nap that day, then do that. If you need to talk to a friend, then do that. A support network is great. Find little things that support you and help you move through this process, and try to eliminate the things that support the negative thinking styles. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and if you have some comments or questions, go ahead and drop them in the box. If you're interested in some of my other videos, check out my channel, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks, guys. Happy Sunday.